Welcome to The Night Temple, a podcast about art, memory, and inspiration. Hi everyone, welcome to the Night Temple podcast. We are here with amazing composer and singer-songwriter Freya Berkhout.
Hello.
And a creative technologist.
That's true.
Yeah.
That as well.
That's
it's a long list of things.
Yes, an important one.
I'm Carisa.
I'm Andrew.
And
so lovely to be here.
welcome.
Yay.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, you are like one of my favorite songwriters as well as composers. We were listening to your music from your scores today, and it's so beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
And just incredible use of voice. You know, I'm a massive fan of that.
Oh, thanks.
So
there are definitely people who are like, we don't want any singing in this one. I'm like, fine.
I feel the same.
Did you sneak it in there?
I
like
sneak it in.
underneath?
They never know.
Yeah.
It's like if you're using textural vocals, you can always
Yeah.
sneak it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's important. I don't know. I think when it's part of who you are, it's hard to make something that feels real if you don't have that part of yourself in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, but it's my most expressive instrument. So
Yeah.
I want to use it all the time. It's like how I tell the story.
Yeah, I totally hear you. And we did a panel with you at the Burbank Film Festival where you did say that you wanted to do music from when you were 3. And I had this exact same experience from when I was 3. So I wanted to, like, our first question that we usually ask people is just really basic.
Yeah. Hit me.
How did you get into music? I have been curious ever since you said that, though.
Yeah.
And knowing that you use your voice as well, I'm just so curious.
So I started piano lessons when I was 4 and I did Suzuki method, but I have videos, like home videos of myself. So I was born in Sydney, but then we moved to Hong Kong. And when we were in Hong Kong, because we were in Asia, we had access to like cheap video cameras, which at the time were not cheap, but we happened to be where they made them. So we had a video camera at the time in like 1992, really aging myself here. And there are videos of me singing as a 2-year-old, or like they're filming my brother who'd just been born. He was 10 days old when we moved to Hong Kong. And there's a video of him, just like being a baby on the floor. And you can hear me in the background being like, don't talk to Elias, just sing my song. And I was so young, and I watch these things now and I'm like, there was something in there and I don't know where it came from. I think it's just like an innate part of me. And then when I started doing piano, obviously that was like a structured learning environment and there were parts of that didn't work for me. My piano teacher was lovely and she understood that I was not going to do my practice, but I played all the time. And then when I started singing, I think I did Les Mis in primary school, and I think I was 6 and I got one of the like solo roles and I was like, I want to sing. And then I got into choir after that. So it took me like a little while. I think I was sort of experimenting as a child, but I didn't know what to do with it. Yeah. And then when I learnt about choir, I remember I auditioned for choir when I was 7. I was in the Sydney Children's Choir and I sang The Little Mermaid, Part of Your World. And that, I think choir just kind of changed everything for me because I loved piano and I loved playing, but I think singing was always like, as I was saying, the most expressive thing. Like there was something kind of in me wanting to get out and it gave me a forum for that. And also just singing with people is the best.
Yeah.
Like I miss it so much. I just like the feeling that you have when you're singing with a group of people, especially when they're really good and you're singing like complex pieces that you've had to work really hard to learn and like everything just fits together and like it feels transcendent. And I think that just changed my life. Yeah. And then I started going to music camp when I went to high school. So like state music camp, which only public school kids can go to, which was always like a bit of an awesome thing. And I was like, I'm just with the public school kids. But I think the first year that I ever went, when I was 11, for the first time ever, they did a composition course. So I was there for choir. You have like a main instrument and then you have like a secondary ensemble. So I think once I did percussion and, I like played with some other things, but I did composition the first year that I ever went and they had like 7 people in it. So it was a really small group, like most people who are at music camp don't want to do composition. They just want to play their instrument really well.
Yeah.
And I think it just was like, it opened my mind. I was like, oh, this, you can write the music, you know, because when you're learning music, there's such a focus on, I guess in certain kind of contexts, like classical music, it's perfection and, you know, being able to like play really complicated stuff and do that, not robotically. Obviously, you're meant to like put the expression in there. But I think as soon as I found out you could actually write music, it gave me the freedom to be like, oh, I can do whatever I want. And my piano teacher was so supportive of that. Like she knew from the beginning that I was a bit of a like rebel child, I think, that was just going to like do whatever I wanted. And then I'd started writing music and she would listen to what I was writing. So I recorded my first song. I wrote my first song when I was 11. It's called Take Life Slow, which is very funny. I actually have a recording of it and I still have it and I sound like a little chipmunk. It's really cute. So my music teacher and my singing teacher helped me record it at high school. And after that, I don't know, I just like performed at every concert at my high school. I went to a school that wasn't technically a performing arts school, but I was in the like special drama stream. They didn't have music at the time, which they do now, but which I would have done. But I was in drama and I was in literally every concert in high school. I think we did 3 per year. And from that age, I think I almost always played my original music. Yeah. So I was like singer, songwriter, piano and singing, you know. And I just loved like Delta Goodrem and Missy Higgins. I was like, you know, looking up to like those kinds of singers, like Delta. I was such a huge Delta Goodrem fan. I like really loved her. Yeah. Like as a sort of 10-year-old, I was just like in awe of this woman. And, you know, she took her shoes off when she played piano. And there were just parts of it that I think I was learning that I was allowed to do those things. And I think a music education can be kind of suffocating in some ways. Yeah. And there were enough people around me that were like, giving me permission to do something different. And I think that was really important. So I was sort of doing that all through high school. And then when I went to university, I was like, I'm done with music education. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'd done like music theory my whole life. I don't like it. It was like, it always felt against my will. And I know that it's important. Like I did it for 15 years or something. It was a long time. But I just got to a point where I was like, I think I just need to like find my joy for music again. Like this has kind of it's been sapped of the reason why I love this in the first place. Yeah. So I decided to do an Asian studies degree because I had just been to India like on a trip with my family and I was like, oh my God, this place is amazing. So I enrolled to do Hindi because I was like, maybe I want to like work in Bollywood. And I was so taken by classical Indian singing. I'd seen my first Bollywood film in Mumbai and I was like, oh my God, this world is so amazing. Like I want to be part of this. And then I started a band with my best friend at the time. So like couldn't really get away from music. It was always going to be there. But at least by that stage, like that band cracked me open. Like that is how I am the musician that I am today because my ex-band partner and I, Alex, like I think that was really a situation where I had to break out of the singer-songwriter thing. So I'd come from classical music, then I'd gone into like singing and songwriting, and that felt like it had its own, you know, genre expectations. Yeah. But we started an experimental pop band, and so we were like getting comparisons to Björk and Cocteau Twins, and you know, like the Cranberries, even like David Bowie, like all these strange, like people that I was like, these aren't people that I grew up with. Yeah. But I think because she and I were just like, you know what, let's give each other permission to be ugly, to make sounds that are weird and like, I don't know, just instinctive and whatever. And what we were writing, it was really special. And I think like that gave me permission to like break out of the education that I'd had before that. So it's sort of been like a multi-step journey with trying to figure out who I am. And I think that allowed me to sing in a way that didn't have to be perfect. You know, like I'm such a singing snob, and I was such a singing snob as a kid because I was like, there's a way you do this. And then that band, it was just like, just do whatever you want. And like those things, when there's something in you and you sing, you let it out, you're like expressing that emotion to people. You're giving like something that's in your body, you're trying to give it to the audience. Yeah. And I don't know, I just felt like I was given permission to like do crazy stuff. Yeah. And then kept doing that. Took it to as many extremes as I could within my own bounds, you know. Yeah. But that band, which was called Kyu, KYU, so actually is a Hindi word, it means why. And we signed a record deal and we released 2 albums. We toured a lot. We were like quite successful in Australia. This was around 2010.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just it was a beautiful roller coaster, and it burned bright and then it blew up because our relationship became really strained and we sort of didn't have the support that we needed around us. Management, wanted us to do certain things and please Triple J, like gatekeepers. They're like, oh, can you cut these sections of your songs out? And, there were like very specific things asking for us to be more packaged and like digestible to a sort of more mainstream audience. And we were like, that just doesn't align with our artistic vision. Like, no, we're not going to do that. And then we ended up we got into South by Southwest, and we knew that if we played in America, we would get an American record deal that we could not say no to. And we were like, we need to break up now because otherwise we're going to be doing this for the next 10 years. And our relationship had just, like, the music industry is so difficult. And it was just the 2 of us, and it was a really intense time. Being on tour all the time, I used to get sick because we'd be on planes a lot because obviously in Australia you have to fly everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I'd get like these like staph infections in my nose and, because you're just run down and like it kind of works you to the bone. And I was 20 at the time. So, it was a really like the most magical experience, and then just became something that wasn't tenable anymore. Yeah. And that was when I got into film music because a film producer had seen us play at a festival and she asked us to score a film, and I had always wanted to do that. I think I've told you guys my Lord of the Rings story because I saw that when I was 10 and I was like, oh, so I knew I wanted to do music since I was like a kid, but I didn't know exactly. I mean, I thought I'd be a pop star. I was like, I want to be a pop star or a brain surgeon. Those were like the 2 options when I was like 10. And then later on, like I think film music, there was like this seed planted, but it just seemed like this faraway thing. Like, I don't know how you do that. I didn't know anyone who even worked in film, let alone did composing. And so I think there was just something in there that was like sitting dormant until this opportunity came up with the band. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. Like this is my way in. And so we were going to work together on this project, and then I ended up doing it because we were like, hey, remember we said we weren't going to work together anymore? We need to not do that. So I ended up scoring it, and then I went to film school after that because I was like, okay, I'm like committing to this thing. So it's been, like a sort of wiggly journey for me. And that it doesn't even end there because, well, you said I'm a creative technologist as well. Like I ended up doing my master's when I lived in London in computational arts because I was kind of interested in learning how to program, and I was like, these are tools that I think are gonna open doors for me, that I want to be able to like make immersive projects. And I think we're attracted to film because it's immersive. Obviously music is immersive on its own, but I think when I look at my career, I'm like, I'm always drawn to immersive experiences. Like I just want something that's gonna like overwhelm me and take me to like another realm, So any of the tools that allow me to do something that's more expansive feels like the direction I want to go in. So I did my master's there and then started working on like interactive projects for museums and galleries and things like that, which I still do now. But film is like my baby. It's like the main thing I'm doing. I mean, obviously my solo music is my actual baby, but no one's asking me to do that. Like that's just for me. And I think it's really important, like I think doing those solo...
I'm asking you to do it.
Oh, thanks. Okay, I'll do it.
I love your music.
It's so easy to do the thing that people want you to do, or that they'll pay you for.
I know.
And I think like my solo album was so important to me because it was just like, no, it was healing my relationship with the music industry for a start. It wasn't about that at all. Like I was coming back to writing solo music that was just like, this is for me, and then if other people like it, great. But also it made me a way better engineer. Like I mixed my album and I had to do such different mixing because, mixing film music is one thing and you're sitting under dialogue and you're working with effects and, like we know our place, you're supporting something. Whereas when you're making music, it's like, no, this needs to fill the entire space. That's the job. And I had some songs that had some intense shit in them, like lots of tracks, like weird organ sounds and like all sorts of stuff, and mixing those I had to learn a lot. So I think like that has made me a better composer. Everything that you do like feeds back in
Yeah.
to the other parts of your practice.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm so glad that I did that. I'm actually kind of like feeling a bit itchy to do the next one, even though it's not, I don't know, the next
solo
album.
project.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's been 2 years or 2 and a bit years since I released it. And I'm like, oh, I really should work on something else and just like keep filling that cup. You know, I think because we give to the projects that we're working on, like, and they're someone else's baby, and that's important. Like, I find,
and they might say, "I don't want any vocals."
Exactly, and I'm like, but
like,
I do, and that's. I think it also gives you license to be more like fluid in film music because you're not trying to smuggle in like the meaning, like your own internal meaning, into that film. Like all the meaning that I get, literally any like the deepest, most profound thing I can get. I'm going to get that from my music. You know, like that's always going to be the thing that gives it to me. And I think when there's a film that overlaps enough with that, it's like beautiful when you're like, oh my God, I can really find myself in this story.
And it's the best for everyone, I think.
It is. And I think you do your best work when you end up on a project like that. But I don't know, there's some part of me, I've been wanting to write an album of lullabies for a really long time, like thinking about lullabies from around the world and like how they might sound different, or I don't know, I'm sort of like it's percolating. I'm not really sure what the direction is exactly. And I might end up starting out in that way and then they're not lullabies at all and they end up as something else. But I definitely am feeling like, oh, it's time to do something that's just for me.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like, you know, when we do this podcast, we're always like trying to excavate like what is the thematic content of an artist's work. And it's so funny how much we assume that, oh, everyone's inspired by this thing, but they're not.
Yeah, right.
And then everyone's actually pretty...
Everyone has their own weird little compass.
Yeah. Exactly. And or just themes, like mythic kind of themes that run through things. And so lullabies with what you mentioned before about self-healing.
Yes. Oh my God, absolutely.
And then lullabies are kind of a form of healing or soothing, self-soothing.
I think it's one of the earliest experiences we have of an oral sense of care.
Right.
You know, like I think that's why people love ASMR as well, because it's got this sort of parental feeling.
Hate ASMR.
I mean, some people hate it too. You may have misophonia, which means you hate those kinds of sounds. It's an actual word for it,
Wow, because my mum hates those sounds. And
maybe it's hereditary.
She put it in my brain from when we were little. If we made the slightest
like mouth sounds. How interesting.
And so I can't cope with it. But I do, but I do, one of the most joyous things for me is just listening to Enya.
I love her. My mum listened to Enya when I was in her womb.
Oh, that's
I swear
so nice.
she's in my bones. And I think for a long time, like, the misogyny against Enya is so real. And I've had people throughout the years be like, oh, it's a bit Enya, you know, when I write something. And I'm like, that's not bad. That's a badge of honor for me.
Yeah,
like, I love her. She's iconic. Like, what do you mean? She's
her
amazing.
Music,
I mean, all they're saying is I hear some reverb. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, reverb is also beautiful. What do you mean? And also, she's a badass. Like, she's single. She lives in her castle with her cats. Like, this woman doesn't give a single shit. She like defined a genre.
Yeah.
And then just like went about her business. I love her so much.
I love her too. Yeah. I really, really do.
She's amazing.
And I, you know, I feel like it was a way of personal healing for me.
It is really soothing music. Like I don't know. I think it took me a long time to realize
too,
it is exactly,
which is more than just soothing. It sort of reminds you that there's more to existence.
Well, and as you say, like the healing, but on like a soul level. Yeah, you know, like I think that's what I'm looking for. Like it took me a long time to realize that I wanted to heal myself or other people with my music. Like I kind of, actually my partner told me, because I think sometimes you need like an external perspective to see that stuff. It was really obvious to him. Yeah. But he was like, like, you know, the things that you're drawn to, they all have this sense of healing about them. And I was like, that's true. Like,
so what are you drawn to? So like, what are the
like actual musicians or Okay, so started with the singer-songwriter stuff. I think like I'm always looking for a really sort of soulful, and I don't mean that in a genre sense necessarily, although obviously that's beautiful music, but like a soulful way of singing.
Yeah.
I think that is like the window to our soul. Like for me, singing is...
And what defines soulful?
So I think that is people like Björk or Enya who are tapping into something that feels like it, or even Lisa Gerrard, you know, like people who are tapping into something that is kind of the deepest human sound you can make, and like even just wailing, you know, like I think part of what got me when I went to India was that I have Irish heritage. My mum is Irish and we're from County Clare, which is like the singing county in Ireland.
Okay.
And when I went to India, I heard the music and I was like, oh my God, this feels like there's a kinship with Irish music. I was like, there's a really weird convergence of these two like singing traditions. And I'm like feeling that. And I don't know, I mean, the Bollywood film that I saw was called Om Shanti Om, which is a really, it's a beloved film. It's like a kind of it's set in the 70s. I mean, it has a reincarnation timeline, a storyline, like of course it does. It's amazing. But the music in that film is phenomenal. And it has a bunch of like disco stuff because of the 70s setting. And then it goes forward like 30 years. And you end up in a more like contemporary pop sort of sound, like Indian pop. And I don't know, man, that the way that they were singing, it just like it like tapped into something inside of me. So I think that felt like such a pivotal influence. Yeah. But I was already in a place of like, you know, Joni Mitchell. I obviously grew up with Joni Mitchell. My mum loves Carole King, but then like Queen. My dad is a massive Queen fan. So Freddie Mercury is like one of my favorite singers of all time. Like I love him so much. And Queen songs are really good for me to sing. And I think it's because I just listened to them my whole life, you know, and there's such a humanity in everything that he sings. You know, I think the best kind of singing has to be a bit free because you need to let those like raw emotions out of you. So I think those kinds of artists were the people that I was looking to. And I think it became more sort of experimental stuff when I got into the band, because then I was sort of, you know, like I grew up listening to the Shins and like Queens of the Stone Age, and, you know, like I loved band stuff as well. And I mean, Sufjan Stevens, Joanna Newsom, they're like people that I was listening to from, you know, early teenage years. And those people, I don't know, just like finding this sort of collection of genres where it felt like they could go in different directions, but they all had something in common, which is that there was like this, window into something really human and raw. So I think when I'm like, that's why I love Cristobal Tapia de Veer, because I feel like he's been my favorite composer for like 13 years. And I just look to everything he does and it's so inventive and raw. You know, I hear something different every time I listen to his work. Yeah. But also it's allowing kind of the human animal to arrive in the music, you know, like it doesn't, I think because I came from that classical background, to be able to find the rawness is like, that's the sort of rebellion that we have to go through. It's like, that's the point of the whole thing. Like you learn the rules so that you can break them. And that was kind of my process. And I think now I'm often pushing myself to find like different ways to express that stuff. And sometimes it's really weird. And you just have to let it happen.
So if you were an animal doing this, what animal? Because it's interesting to me, and I'll put this out there, right? Because when you said soul, my mind went to soul.
Exactly, like soul music.
And I thought of Nina Simone, which is
beautiful.
You know, very guttural stuff, or like Diamanda Galas, or like, you know, that kind of very guttural thing.
Or even Bulgarian Women's Choir, which is like unbelievably raw because you get this like chesty voice.
But the people that you mentioned have this, like Lisa Gerrard, like have an ethereal kind of element to them. Yeah, I definitely do like that. And so my mind is like, this is like the bird. Yeah, you know, like the raw, like the rawness, the animal, because it just made my scorpionic brain kind of absorb it in a new way that I hadn't thought of before, which I really, really like.
Yeah, I think the bird thing is interesting because they sing.
Just curious as to your kind of sensibility with
I mean,
with
I
this
definitely
stuff.
feel a kinship with birds.
Yeah.
And I've done projects that are about bird song.
Yeah.
And, because they're like, that's the original music of the world, right? They're dinosaurs. They've been on
Yeah.
this earth for a really long time. And they've
Yeah.
been singing for a really long time. It's how they communicate.
Andrew's sister's like one of the maybe the top world expert on lyrebirds.
Oh, they're so cool.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
she
they can
works
mimic
with
anything. They're
lyrebirds.
so amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would flatter myself if I said that the lyrebird was my bird.
But you could.
I feel like I think that's part of what being a musician is. You go through or like being a composer, you know, you go through a process of you're learning the fundamentals and then you mimic for a long time.
Yeah.
And I could mimic lots of people. I could sing as lots of different people. You know, that's what you're doing when you're young and you're like, you're learning. Well, I guess it's a different kind of fundamental. And then at a certain point, you need to find your own voice. And the mimicry helps you get there, but you can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I think some people never leave that space, and that's a shame because I think the world does want us to mimic a lot, especially if you're doing this in a capitalist context. If you're getting paid for something, it's like, do a sound-alike.
And,
you know.
asking to package your music for...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think if you break away from that and you have the space and the courage to be like, who am I? Like, what's the thing that's actually inside me? Like, that was the thing that my band did. It gave me permission to do that.
Yeah.
And I think after that, it always just feels like it's, I guess, getting closer to who I am, but then who I am changes all the time. So like I go back and I listen to like, you know, scores that I've done 10 years ago and I'm like, oh yeah, I was in that phase of like chopping everything up and like reordering it and then doing, you know, whereas now for the last few years, I've been doing a lot of vocal sampling. So like, as in literally like making sounds and then mapping it to a keyboard.
Yeah.
Because I really like how weird that sounds. Like it's kind of, it's like dancing in the uncanny valley and it's a human sound that you recognize. And it is so human, right? Like I'm using the fact that it's the most familiar sound and then making it something that's like kind of unsettling or off-putting. And it's like it hits you in a deep visceral level because it is so familiar.
Because it's the organic, you know, we're so attuned to the human voice and that's it's such a primal thing to hear, to respond to emotionally. But it's like, I can hear, I was, when we were listening to some of your scores earlier, I could hear that, the way, just that kind of sampled voice and just, you know, because it does just like, you know, you get this synthesis, you know, you get the synthesis of like, which is really good for the screen as well, because it like kind of glues it to the screen and creates a new world. But then it's got the voice. I don't know. It's really
it's
cool.
weird,
like,
isn't
the
it?
uncanny, like as you said, the uncanny. It's uncanny.
Exactly.
And that's really powerful. It's like emotional and distant at the same time.
Like it's
pushes and
off-kilter.
pulls.
Thank you. I'm really glad that comes through because that's like exactly what I'm going for. Like I really want it to feel, I mean, I think this is why I'm quite attracted to horror films because I think, well, firstly, there's a lot of space to experiment because I think horror directors and audiences are looking for a novel way to be scared. So I'm always like, oh, there's so much room to experiment
and
here.
then also accepting of like doing it a different way.
Absolutely.
As well.
Because the audience is hungry for those experiences.
Yeah.
And if you can be interesting and different in that space, you'll be rewarded, which is not true with other genres, unfortunately. Like, drama doesn't want you to be like that. And, you know, even action, it's like, you know, we've got the tropes, we know what they are.
Yeah.
But I think horror, it feels like there's so much space to play in that uncanny valley. It's like, how far can you push it? You know, how weird can it get?
Yeah.
And it does hit you in this sort of like visceral bodily level. Like it's in your guts, you know, there's something that you're just like, oh, I feel gross. Like, I don't know, man, I don't like this. And it's like, that's how it's meant to feel. Like it's meant to be super unsettling.
Yeah.
And like, that's the power of that's your subconscious, like having the music permeate you. And you're like, yep, I couldn't even put my finger on what it is that's happening here, but I don't feel good. And I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Which, okay, so I love this because it's like I think all truth is works in a paradoxical space.
That's true.
And all truth works in like polarity. paradox and polarity.
Yep.
Like you can't see a protagonist that has no dark side and believe them.
No.
And you can't see a villain that has no good side and believe them.
Yep.
You know, just as an obvious thing, because I know that this is a screenwriting thing, so that's why I'm bringing that up. But I feel like I'm finding the polarity of healing music.
Yeah.
And I want you to have the yucky feeling inside.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
But the midpoint is like the soul.
Yes,
And
totally.
And the rawness.
And a vulnerability.
And the vulnerability.
Yep.
And the animal. And I love, okay, so just before, you know, I was like, you talked about the soul in it, and then you gave me an unexpected answer because you said these ethereal things. And I think there's healing in me for hearing you say that. Because what
those are allowed to be considered soulful.
Beyond allowed to, like, it is like the vulnerability and the meeting point of become, you know, of animal and humanity.
Yeah, totally.
Is this soft kind of, you know, we get used to, I feel like as humans, we're like, we used to hard work and doing it the hard and sacrifice. And then we kind of like build up these defensive barriers, you know, and it becomes like in our nervous system. But then to take that away
exactly
is the rawest place that you can be.
It is
actually the softest.
Totally. And I think you're right about the, like, those polarities.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think this one came first. The ethereal thing came first for me, because I think that's an easier thing, especially as a child, to like enjoy. You know, you have simpler tastes.
Yeah.
But as I've got older, I'm really drawn to that darkness. And it's not the world that I live in, you know, like I am not that as a person, but it's a place that I like to visit. You know, there's a well of darkness inside me. And I want to go there and see what I find, because that's fucking real.
It's human.
Yeah.
It's
like
just
that
it's
shit
humanity.
is real.
It's the humanity. There's grief. There's
absolutely.
rage,
there's
love,
guilt.
There's
exactly.
shame.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think
bravery, like all of the colors.
You get that catharsis when you decide to go
Yes.
there. Like it's okay to feel that way. And like sometimes you need to exercise it from your body, and you need it gone. And sometimes you just need to be in it.
Yes.
And it's okay. Like sometimes I'll write, I think I've told you this before, I like sometimes write music. If I'm feeling really shitty, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to write a piece of music that's like dwelling in the mud. And I'm like, whatever, I'm just like a dirty pig and I'm in the mud and it's okay. And it's like fine to feel like just crap. And sometimes I'm like, I need to get myself out of this well. I have to climb the walls, and the music is going to help me get there. Like I'm going to get to something more healing.
Yeah.
Like, and I think both, I want to honor both of those parts of myself.
Yeah.
You
both
know,
of those parts are just so.
they're both real.
And they're both the keys to mental health.
Absolutely.
Emotional mental health.
Yeah.
And emotional intelligence is just like something that we just don't honor enough in our culture. And emotional health is just identifying feelings.
Exactly.
And having permission to feel them and move through them.
Yep.
It's so either part of that process is just healing. It's
It
still
is.
healing. It's all about healing and the raw soul healing underneath all the facades.
Exactly, all the
and that.
masks and the things we have to do every day. And I
Yeah.
think like I want that realness, and I think sometimes I can occasionally tap into this sort of feeling that I get where I'm like, I'm communing with the spirit of music. You know, like I'm grateful every day that this is my job. I am so lucky, and that we get to be part of a tradition that is as long as humanity. You know, we're like adding our own layer to the history of what music is. It's a consciousness, you know, from every human that made those sounds before us. And I can get myself into this mindset where I'm like, God, I'm like communing with this spirit. I'm just here in this place. Like, it's not about me. I'm just a conduit, you know, like that you can get away from the ego part of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like something is traveling through me and I'm just the body that this sound is vibrating through.
Yeah.
And that's how we get to this emotion, and it's trying to say something true about the human experience.
Yeah.
And I feel so grateful for that. It's such a joy. And obviously not everything I work on always feels like that. You know, sometimes you work on stuff where you're like, oh, I'm trying to find myself in this in a way that you have to sort of take a different road in. And I always do want to arrive at that truth. And I've been, I guess I would say, lucky enough to work on things that in general align with me. But I think part of the reason is that I wasn't getting hired by people who were making stuff that didn't align with me, because mostly that was like dudes who weren't going to hire a female composer. So I've ended up working on a lot of projects that are about, like, you know, being like an outsider of some kind, or you know, if you're underrepresented in any way, I think you're always going to look for other underrepresented people to work with. But I think that has meant that there's always been some essential truth in the projects that I work on. And often those people are more willing to take risks with music as well. Not always, but my mission is to like embolden directors to take risks with music. I'm like, I promise you this will pay off. Like, let's do something really cool. I promise you it will make your film so much better. And like, people will listen to the soundtrack afterwards and it will transport them back to the world. Like, it's this thing that gets to exist outside the film. And you can tap into it anytime you want. You don't even have to watch it. You can listen to one song and you're like, I'm there. But I think like that's kind of the place that I find myself in now, which is that I really just want to like push people to try more weird stuff. And I think, again, that's why the horror thing feels like it makes sense, because there's already this willingness to do something weird,
and then,
which I love.
The horror is always exploring. I find horror just to be the most therapeutic. Or
it
like,
is.
You know, like everything's therapeutic, right? In its own context. But horror really... We watched, what was that movie? Weapons?
Oh, I need to see it. I really want to watch it.
And I just had the most traumatic, like, family experience. And that movie just corrected my brain.
Like, I needed this horror therapy.
I really needed that.
Yeah.
You know, and I find that sometimes, you know, with the political horrors, you know, just watching... right at the end of the last, you know, the last round of this insane administration, Andrew was like, I just need to watch The Purge constantly. It was
we're in quarantine too.
We're in quarantine.
Awful. You're like, we're stuck here.
We're stuck in Sydney in quarantine.
Oh, no,
I had to watch all the Purge movies.
It really is so cathartic.
It's a therapeutic... Sorry, I moved my... It's a therapeutic, I don't know, genre.
It is.
That just lets you... Yeah, it lets you process things.
I also think there's something about... I just been... this thing is in my brain, just thinking about this conversation. There's something like trying to... The link between like Joanna Newsom and horror as a musical thing, and there's just something that's like introspective, like those artists that you talked about, like Joanna Newsom and Sufjan Stevens and stuff like that. It's very like introspective, like
emotive.
Just really looking inside,
yes,
and looking inside and finding like the vulnerability and the sweetness or something. And I feel like there's something like horror's just like
it's that just turned on its side, isn't it?
It kind of is. It's like, because it's like, you know, it's like you look inside and you find, you know, I keep on thinking of this, you know, there's that T.S. Eliot line, the infinitely gentle, infinitely suffering thing, you know. You know, but there's something about horror that's like, it's like cracking open this space that you're not supposed to look into.
Exactly.
And like,
it's like ugly,
you know,
and dark.
But it's
but
just
beautiful.
But it's not necessarily. It's just the action of cracking open. You know, the cracking open. I think
that feels like an essential part of, I mean, who I am as a person and what I want my music practice to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about cracking open and finding, like, what's the yolk inside, you know, like this vulnerable thing, you know, and it can be suffering. And I think that's the real experience. Like, I don't know. I always want to, even when I'm having a conversation with people, like I want to get to the real stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I don't care about other things, whatever, that's just boring. Like, let's talk about real shit. Like, what's your
Yeah.
trauma?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like, why are you the way that you are? You know, like, let's unpack everything and
Yeah,
understand.
exactly,
Like,
yeah.
that's the real thing. I don't want the mask. You know, like, I think, and music is sort of like, it's daring you to do that. I think it doesn't have to be. Like, there are kinds of music that are just meant to be, I guess, more like entertainment. And that's fine. I think that has a place. And I think there are films that are entertaining and they're nice to watch.
Because you need a beta state of mind
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
too,
Sometimes,
where
yeah, you
can
just need to log off.
Or like just I need to wake up in the morning and I need to get my brain to work and
Exactly,
be active.
yep.
So therefore this boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom
yeah, the
makes
beat
my
will
brain.
like wake me up.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's its own therapy. It's
It
different.
is,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And it has a different function.
A different function.
And I think
yeah.
for me, like, that's why those introspective artists feel so, like, I think I was taking them in at such a young age. But what was attractive to me about that was that courage to go there. You know, it's like, we're all doing this together and you
Yeah.
get to go inside them, and then that teaches you something about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's a mirror back to you. And I think that was why the healing thing came up, because it was like, oh, I'm trying to introspect and I'm trying to crack myself open and look at all the parts, and there are lots of things in there that I don't like. Like, they don't make me proud. You know, there are parts of myself that I'm like, I wish that I wasn't this way. But that, I think you just have to accept that stuff and recognize that we all have that. And the vulnerability is being able to say that, and then someone else is like, me too. And you
And
realize
also,
that
like,
we all feel the same way.
I think this is why, because I was like, you were like, you're talking about horror, and I'm like, and it's beautiful, but I'm like, horror beautiful. My brain just double took on that, but then it is beautiful, because I think one of the most profound things that we can do is, and I think you do it, is just take a look inside, find the little part that's
Yeah.
like maybe acts up or you know, and just kind of go, how are you doing?
Yeah, like, you're okay.
You're okay.
It's okay
It's
that
gonna
you
be
exist.
okay.
Yes.
And I get, maybe you serve this particular job for me.
Yeah, there's a reason why you exist. It protected me at some point. Maybe now I
Yeah.
don't need you anymore.
Maybe
You can
like, why
retire.
don't, or why don't maybe I'll give you just a different job.
Yep, exactly.
You know, it's
Yep.
like, it's something that I do a lot, is that is parts work.
Internal family systems.
Exactly.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, you know, just being able to like love the little.
I know. I think about
the
all the
love.
little, like, it's very, you know, Inside Out is obviously like a good
Oh, yeah,
representation of that
that's
idea.
right, yeah.
But, you know, you have all these little, you have your little team inside
Yeah.
you. And there's like a
Yeah.
naughty little rebel that wants to act up. And you're like, yeah, it's okay. I know why you're doing that.
And but
you
maybe
know?
their naughty little rebel needs to act up.
Yeah,
sometimes.
exactly. We all need someone
then-
who's going to remind
and
us,
maybe
like,
you need to
these are
piss
your
somebody
values.
off.
Exactly.
And maybe you piss them off, and then something changes because of that.
Yes.
It's like we're kind of programmed to think that niceness is the key to everything, and therefore, like, just, you know, all those parts inside that may want to take a different approach,
Yes.
we kind of bench them
Exactly.
when maybe they are the right one to
No,
just
they-
kind of,
They are.
and maybe we can forgive them later.
I think so. Have you guys seen A Real Pain?
No.
The film? Okay, I watched it last night. I highly recommend it, by the way.
Okay.
But it's about cousins who go to Poland. They're Jewish and they want to go back and see where their grandmother came from before she left, like when the Holocaust was happening. So they're like on this tour, and one of them is like a very sort of good boy, and the other one is like in a really sort of fragile emotional state, and he acts up quite a lot in this tour group.
Yeah.
But he's also so charming and so lovely, and he means well, and he's got this heart. And it's funny because you kind of hate him for being the way that he is, but you remember him, you know, and the other guy is kind of forgettable. And
Yeah.
I think like sometimes the most important things are confronting.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, I know that who I am as a person in some ways, just essentially who I am, is confronting to some people.
yeah.
Because I don't really like doing what people tell me to do. I've had to unlearn the parts of me that were sort of taught to do that, right? Like I was very well behaved in high school. I wasn't like a bad kid or anything like that. I was like, I definitely took on the way that you're meant to do things, and I've kind of had to unlearn that a bit. But there's also inside me just someone who's like, no, fuck off. I will do things the way that I'm going to do them. And I think part of what's been happening as I get older is just honoring that person more and knowing that if people don't like her, that's fine. Maybe I'm not for you, and that's okay. And I think like it's the same with the music that you play or the films that you work on. You know, I think all of these things manifest in every part of your life, in your relationships. Like, you know, the way that you act, like the way that I honor myself is sometimes going to really piss people off.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I need to make sure that that's what I'm doing every day. I heard this Viola Davis quote where she was like, my job every day is to wake up and not betray myself. And I was like, oh God, I feel this so hard. And I think
that's hardcore.
it is, isn't it? And I think like sometimes it like the world doesn't want you to not betray yourself. It asks you to betray yourself all the time. It needs everyone to behave in a certain way so that we have like that we maintain the system that we live in, which clearly is not working.
It's also not being maintained by the people that put it in place.
No, absolutely not.
You know, like it's this idea that's like brought down by people that don't need to maintain that system at all.
Exactly.
So that makes it dubious in and of itself.
Totally. And I think like sometimes I have to remember that my job is to make people uncomfortable. And like I have to sit with that because I don't really like it. I'm still not great at doing that. I'm good at doing it, and then I feel the guilt or the feelings later. Like that's where I'm at now. Before I couldn't do it, and now I do it, and I'm like, oh God, I'm feeling intense because I know that person didn't like the thing that I said because I was standing up for myself or whatever, right? I'm like in my values, and I'm not going to compromise on that. But that's the way it's got to be because I have to not betray myself.
Yeah. But also your emotional intelligence allows you to do the thing that's uncomfortable, make the other person uncomfortable, and then go away and say, I'm really uncomfortable about that.
Yes.
Without acting on it.
Exactly.
Because you're emotionally aware enough of yourself.
Yeah. And some of the best things...
That's it. That's all we need to do. You know?
Some of the best things in my life, like the changes that I have made, have come from situations where I have been uncomfortable and I had to sit with that discomfort and be like, I have to change something because I don't like the way that my life is because of this particular thing.
Yeah.
And the discomfort forces you to change in the best possible way. Like it's an opportunity.
Yeah,
but I think
totally.
it's okay to be like, yep, there are some people who don't want to have like a deep conversation.
Yeah.
That's fine. I probably just will talk to them briefly and then be like, I'm going to go talk to this person over there. Like, I know what it is I'm looking for. I want like authentic, real relationships with people in my life and with the people that I work with. And I think you do your best work when you find that stuff because it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, you're cracking your egg open together.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, okay, we're like telling this story. Let's excavate further and see how much further we can go down into this weird cave that we've found and like what's here.
Yeah.
And I think like that is always going to result in a more interesting experience for someone watching it or listening to it. And I'm willing to go there. Like I think there's a part of me that wants to dare everyone around me to like, let's go there. I'm like, and that's what I want my music to do too. I'm like, let's fucking go there. Like I want to like lean into this strange feeling. And sometimes it feels bad and you're like, yeah, I'm in a shit place and I guess that's just where I am.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm alive. I feel alive because I'm
Your
really sad.
Your music is like really transcendent in you might be going through something, but it feels like you stop people, you slow them down, and then you just move this energy up in a weird, and I guess I'm thinking in terms of being a vocalist.
Yeah.
The thing that when I first heard, I can't remember what song it is. Is it Fruit?
Yep, from the album, yeah.
It's
yes.
Like that was like, whoa.
It's hymnal. It feels hymnal
because
to me.
you moved the vocal line up. And that is something that's like a really against the grain thing.
Yeah.
I think as a vocalist. I'm trying to think of other songs.
That's true. It's funny how sometimes, you write something and then you're like, huh,
Yeah.
Where did that come from? I wrote that in one go.
It also sounds multimodal as
It
well.
definitely is. I should analyze it and find out what it's in. I haven't looked at it. We've talked about this. I'm such a like modal person just because I'm always like, but I want it to be a bit weird.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like my partner
Just a
always,
geek out moment here for
My partner always teases me because he's like, oh, you always blue ball everyone. You know, you like make a space for something to like go in this direction where you're going to get this beautiful like resolve, and then you resolve it a bit. You know, because I think I like the tension.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want, I think, I mean, the kind of releases that we're used to in music are often so
home
bog standardy. Yeah, just like whatever major
Home
blah, blah.
note.
And I'm like, it's just too perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't feel,
tonic.
it doesn't feel enough to me. You know, like there's always a facet that's just a bit like off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to honor that. You know, I've been like getting back into perfume. I was really into perfume as a kid. And I don't know why, I've just been like in a space where I wanted to like smell lots of stuff. I think I'm looking for like an elixir to heal me. I guess we come back to that yet again. But with a lot of smells, like smells in nature, like flower smells will have like this beautiful floral fragrance, but they also have something that's a bit funky, like a slight rotten smell.
Good perfume has
always has something a little bit off. And I feel like civet, exactly, or like something a bit fecal, exactly. And I'm like, I don't want to do just the white
anus gland
flower, exactly,
of a raccoon. That's
totally
sounds great.
Vomit from a whale.
It's like the most expensive,
exactly.
the most expensive like product in perfumery, and it's like why?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I'm looking because that feels real. Like it's I don't want it to resolve in a way that feels too perfect. It just like I don't know. I like squishy, you know, sort of augmented or diminished chords because I'm always looking for something that's just like a little bit more complex than just like a major thing, which is why modes have spoken to me for so long.
And why it may be the Bollywood influence too,
true.
Because that's, you know, if you were to convert it, it would be multimodal as well.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that stuff, like, I don't know, I have people who listen to my music and they're like, oh, do you listen to Hindustani music or Carnatic music? And I'm like, yes. And they can hear it. You know, I think if you're familiar with like Indian classical singing, you can hear those things in my singing. But it's just that I think I've digested, like I went there when I was 17. So it was nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like been in me for a long time. I've been sort of digesting that sound for a long time. So I think the way it comes out feels really organic to me now.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like it's part of me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about that, but I can hear like the moving over the kind of floating over the drone of the, you know, going up and
that's right too.
Even like harmonium.
Yeah. But yeah, especially even just with that song, it's like the chromatic kind of function of it. I don't know. It's
a funny thing. It really.
I think that because I really love Indian music as well. And that might be as well another layer to why I love your music so much.
That would make sense because it's definitely in there. And I think, that song, it's funny, it does feel, hymnal to me. I think I wrote the first two, I guess they're really stanzas. Like it's a weird song. It just has like 3 verses. I wouldn't even know what to call
refrain.
them. Yeah, refrain,
exactly. A refrain song.
But it's funny. Like I was, you know, married at the time that I wrote the first 2 stanzas of that, and then the last one I wrote after I got divorced. So it's kind of that song, even though it's the name of the album, it doesn't feel like it represents the whole album, but the word fruit felt so right for that record. You know, it was like I'm tending to my little fruits, you know, like my little babies, they're all growing and I want to honor them. And I think like that song, I don't know, there's a wistfulness to it. There's something, the way that I wrote it, I don't know, it's weird when you think back to that and I'm like, I guess I was just in a flow state. I was in a haze of like, I just wrote it and it was done. It really didn't change that much from like idea to how it ended up on the album.
I think some of those songs are just like
just the most raw thing is the best one. I redid the vocals because like it's funny, it's actually kind of hard to sing.
I bet
to
it
sing
is.
it really well. Like that song is when I'm performing live, I'm always like, oh, fruit. I sort of need to do it at the beginning too, because once I've gone a bit loud on some of the other ones, it's harder to come back to a softness in my voice because it gets a bit like scratchy, I guess. And that song really wants like a pure, I always say that my voice is like a sine wave. It's or like a bell tone. It's got a very sort of like focused energy to it. It's really pure. Like it's, and I feel like that song is in that space. Whereas some of my other songs are much more in like a sort of slightly going into like a wailing sort of direction, where I'm a bit more like finding that rawness.
Yeah.
But Fruit feels, like there's a sort of some kind of churchy choir element in it that wants the purity. Like I love boy sopranos. I love them so much. Like,
have you ever watched The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Lover?
No.
Peter Greenaway film. It's a Michael Nyman score, but it's got a castrato.
Oh wow.
It's phenomenal.
It's a boy soprano, right? And this castrato.
I think it might be
A castrato that one existed in whatever 1970 or 1980.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's
I might be
crazy.
wrong. I should look into that.
I should watch the film.
Nobody
anyway.
quote me on that without checking.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I didn't,
Wow.
yeah.
Cheers. Yeah, one of my favorite pieces from Lord of the Rings is like when the Ents are like drowning Isengard, and it has that boy soprano part, and it's so beautiful.
Have you ever watched Oliver?
Yes.
That Where Is Love?
Oh yeah. Oh, my brother sang that.
Oh, my brother did too. That's so
also
crazy.
A Benjamin Britten song called Balulalau, which is from Benjamin Britten's carols. Wait, what was it? Oh my god, now it's leaving me. Anyway, he did a bunch of like sort of reimagined carols.
Yeah.
Ceremony of Carols, that's what it's called. And I sang a lot of these in choir, but my brother did the solo in one of the songs. And I think that's probably part of the thing too, is like my brother's singing. I think it's just like so deep in me. I'm just like, oh, the boy soprano thing is so pure. I could imagine a boy soprano singing Fruit and it being really beautiful. Like that song is so, it's simple. It's just meant to feel like wistful, and you're honoring like the lifetime of a relationship, and like the lifetime of a plant. That's kind of like, it's talking about seeds and growing, and then it has a death, and it's not sad. It's just the natural.
But I think that's
circle.
something that your music can do too. Is very transformative, And I think there's something about making somebody stop and
I
listen,
love that.
and like, I'm going to butcher this if I try to do one of your songs, but it's just like the magic of each other.
Oh yeah, Lioness. It's called
Lioness. That's the one, and it's just
bathing in the warm magic of each other.
That's it, and it's just, I feel like there's a, there's a bit of a like. It's like the same thing that shoegaze can give you.
Yeah,
totally. You just get embedded in this. It's immersive.
Yeah, it's immersive,
and transformative.
It's a mantra. Like I think a lot of the time I end up, and this is again like the Indian influence, but it's not like, it's not right there. It's something that, it's like a thing that's a bit ambiently in my body. But I think I end up with a lot of my songs have something at the end that's just going over the same line. Because I think I'm trying to soothe myself, and like the bubble, I want the bubble of that soothing to like expand and include people.
Well, it's a thing as well, even with mantra, where it's like transforming the frequency.
Exactly.
And that's how your music feels. It does feel like... And now that you say the word mantra, it sinks into my system even more that I feel like I do just get this sort of, it doesn't matter how loud any piece of your music is, it feels immersive.
Oh, that's so nice.
And then it feels transformative. And part of that transformation is definitely healing. It's like some healing, acceptance, letting go, like all of the things that come in with healing and transformation.
Yeah, and like feeling the things and then just moving through it.
But also just how tender you are with things. And I think that's some lesson that I get from talking to you in general. And again, the paradoxical thing, because I can see how you can be confrontational.
Exactly.
But it's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And when I say confrontational, I mean truthful.
Yeah,
and that is confronting to people.
Exactly. Like that is perceived as confronting.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is
the thing I love about you.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that just makes me feel so at home talking to you, is just the sensation of how truthful you are.
Yeah.
And just also it comforts me, and then there's the liberty and the freedom
Yes.
for vulnerability in that. And so there is just this sense of vulnerability that I feel in your music that actually properly heals me as well. And not just in your music, but in talking to you. The thing that I really get from you that is a proper medicine for me is how fierce you are about protecting the soft space that exists.
Yeah.
And the you know, confrontational energy, which is really just speaking the truth.
Yes.
And people that speak the truth are usually scapegoated by those that find that uncomfortable or don't want to deal with things.
Yeah, they benefit from not knowing the truth.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I can see how that could be seen as confrontational and whatever. But really it's just, that's the truth is really like a liberating thing as well, and it makes me feel at peace and good, you know,
that
around
makes me so
you.
happy.
And then the fact that you are so able to be fierce in that truth, and all in defense of this sparkly, sweet, soft light that's like a hummingbird.
Yeah, it does feel a bit hummingbird-like.
That is the thing that it gives me medicine. I don't think I always give that to myself.
Yeah.
And it really gives me a great, great medicine, you know. Yeah, that's going to
That is a very beautiful thing to say.
But
it's so lovely.
It's very meaningful to me to like watch you do that is just a great example of like the advocacy of the heart.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, because that is truly such a, like, that's exactly what I want to be, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, like, I always want to move from a place of integrity. Like, I can't lie to myself, and I don't want to lie to other people. You know what I mean? Like, what's it all for? At the end of the day, like, we're here on Earth for a short amount of time. I know I have not job to do, but I have a mission, and that's like to make sounds that heal people. Yeah. And if I can achieve that, like that, my life is made. Yeah. You know, like I know that's what my purpose is. Yeah. But I want to live that in the rest of my life too. I want to genuinely connect with people and give them permission to be confrontational if they need to. Yeah. You know, like what is the truth that's in you that you don't allow to come out, because I want to know that person, because I think that person has something really interesting to say, and I want to hear it because maybe they're going to say something that I don't know. Maybe that's going to challenge me in a way that forces me to grow. I want to grow. Like I want to take the microscope to myself and be like, okay, how am I doing things that honor myself and are working towards getting me to the person that I need to be? And I often think about, like, I think people are like sculptures, you know, you're like a big slab of rock. And the process that we go through in life is like chipping away to find the shape of that thing. You know, it's a process of subtraction, because the world puts a lot of stuff on us. Yeah. And that's not who you are. That's who the world needs you to be, so that you function in society in a way that's not confrontational or like does your job well, or you're just a corporate drone who shows up to work every day and you never think about it. Exactly. To the machine. Exactly. And like it profits from that because you don't have enough time to think. That's it. And I think like being an artist, your job is to do that excavation, you know, and the chipping away for me is often like I'll find these parts of myself and I'm like, I thought that they were so essential to who I am, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that, and I get rid of it, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't need to be part of me, you know, like it's a thing that I picked up or I was taught. It's
like an imprint.
Exactly. And I think you see what is serving you and you chip away at those things to be like, okay, I want to see this shape that's, you know, what's the sculpture of me at the end of my life. I'll know, I'll have the most detailed understanding of that. Yeah. But it's a journey of trying to understand who I am and what my place is. And I think I sort of fiercely live by my values, and that is often the confrontational thing too. You know, people don't like, They don't like being questioned because it is uncomfortable to, you know, have someone ask you why you're doing a job that you hate and you're gone every day and you can't honor the little artist inside you because you're busy doing, you know, being a software engineer or whatever it is, like something that society values. But I will fiercely defend everyone's ability to create and say something, you know, like everyone has something in them that we can only access through them. And I just always want to make space for people to like sing their song, you know. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I just want to have space to sing my song, and everyone else should have, let's make space for people to do that too, you know. And I think like even in conversations, I want it to be healing. Like, I think in some senses, like, I really love psychology, and I maybe not in another life. Like, in another life, I was always like, oh, I'd be a rally car driver. I love driving really fast. Architect, I can definitely imagine, because I've always, like, I really love design. My parents are town planners, and I kind of grew up around, like, the architecture of happiness is something that's really meaningful to me. Like, I think spaces shape us. And, you know, in some sense, it's like the physical manifestation of the immersive musical experience, you know. It's like architecture is the physical world that we're in. That's what we're immersed in, and music is like, you know, the intangible part of that that's in my ears. But I don't know, I think the psychology part of it feels really present in my work because of, I guess, acknowledging that healing. And, you know, I had some internalized misogyny inside me that I needed to work through when that was coming about, because I think there is something very feminine and maternal about healing. I think we associate that with weakness and vulnerability, and it's not masculine. It's not worthy in the same way, because we see that as work that's not worth paying for, and it's work that women do. And so I think I had to go through a process of being like, okay, the healing part of it, like I'm standing in a feeling of strength when it comes to that healing. I mean, it's obviously, I want to honor the vulnerability, and weakness is also fine. Like being feminine or maternal is a beautiful thing, but I think I had to work through my own feeling of that not being enough, or maybe that alienating people. Like, do men not understand that, and will I not get onto the right kinds of projects because male directors won't hire me because what I'm doing is too feminine? You know, I think my music is very feminine, and I've had to sort of come to a place where I'm like, well, that's just who I am. And if you don't like that, then I guess maybe you have some, like, obviously people have their own taste. But if there's something about that that's confronting you because it's feminine, then that's something that they have to work through. Like, they've got their own internal misogyny that they need to work through. And sometimes people saying they don't want singing, I think, does come from that. Like, I think some people are like, oh, I just don't want a lady voice, like floaty voice singing. And it's like, hey, this is deeper than that. You know, this is like who I am as a person. And if you're hiring me, it's kind of part of the package. You know, like I can have that manifest in different ways. And I love, like, you know, I've told you guys about Manfred, like the boy version of my voice when I do pitched down stuff. Like Manfred sings. Manfred sings in lots of weird horror films, and like I love exploring that. That's like an interesting sort of fluid gender to exist in as a composer as well. But I think if you're saying like, I just don't like female vocals, it's like, okay, well, I think you might have some stuff to unpack. I mean, it's not right for every story. But not as like a lead thing, but as a textural element, it's kind of like strings. You know, do we think that those are feminine?
I really agree. I mean, I feel the same way with vocal stuff as well. And just to add to the feminine thing, I think that it is just maybe someone's issue if they have an issue with it.
I think so too.
Because you know, we're living in a time where the rampant mental illness has taken over the world. And it's a time to, like, mental health, please.
Yeah, exactly. People. Look after yourself.
And also just people are discovering that IQ isn't really relative to life success, whereas emotional IQ, i.e. the ability to know what you're feeling and name it, is way closer to actual financial success, career success, family success than anything else. So I think we're at a turning point where the science is kind of backing up the need for this kind of balance, and there's no people in the world that are like, I'm all masculine energy.
No, exactly.
And I don't have any of introspection or emotions or,
Totally.
you know, like everyone is a blend.
I actually feel like I learnt masculinity from my mum. I mean, obviously I learned it from my dad too, but my mum's like a second wave feminist who's a really big, like she's a sort of corporate lady. She's like a big deal at her job. And so there was some part of masculinity that she was manifesting, and that was demonstrated to me. And I think like, I think we have a lot, I think cis men have a lot to learn from trans men. I think trans men are leading the charge when it comes to having conversations about the best kind of masculinity. Like I think trans men are able to celebrate the things about masculinity that are really beautiful and not engage in toxic masculinity, because they have to think about this a lot before they get to be who they are. You know, you have to break that down a lot. And I want models of good masculinity, you know?
And I feel like there are a lot, and they're like, you know, I was a teenager in the 90s, and there were a lot of really positive conversations about masculinity in the 90s.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
But somehow, somewhere in the 2000s, it kind of became very, like, there's always a backlash, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's just, like, there came a backlash.
Yeah.
And then now the conversations had to restart. And I feel like it's just cyclic like that.
It is, yeah.
And I'm sure that it was the same before me.
Yes.
You know? And
everything is always a cycle in that way.
And also, humanity is always humanity.
Yeah.
It's like...
we don't really change that much.
We don't change that much. It was surprising for me to look at this civil rights stuff and see, oh, wow, there's lots and lots of white people in the civil rights movement from the 60s, and lots of white people that protested, you know, Gone with the Wind. And, you know, that it's just a funny thing. Like, we think of it as, oh, human evolution, but it's more like what becomes okay on the public's, you know, what becomes preferred, and then there is an evolution there as well. But I don't know. That was just a thought process.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we all have, you know, you all have that fluidity in you. Like everyone has masculine and feminine traits. Yeah. And I think part of what I had to go through was, I mean, I think some of the parts of myself, like the really protective parts, feel quite masculine. Yeah. You know, but I think how I present, sometimes it takes people off guard because I present in a way that I think they don't expect that. Yeah. And then I'm like, no, I have like a hard boundary, and you've just met the boundary, and we're not moving beyond that now. Yeah. And I think there are ways to do that still take care of people, but you know, again, you always have to honor yourself. But I think that is, I think especially with this internalized misogyny around singing particularly, and this is the Enya thing, obviously, like people denigrating her, it's just misogynist rhetoric, you know, it's like people who are denigrating her music, and it's like, hey, you know how this woman is like unbelievably famous? It's because people love her music, and you don't have
it's healing.
It's healing. Yeah. And that is something that we can celebrate. Yeah. We don't have to be like, oh, it's girl music and therefore it's not very good, or it's just complicated.
It scores a lot of like one of the most male-filled films in the,
and also
in Lord of the Rings,
more film composers are men as well. Like, I'm like, you know, we're having to fight in an industry where I think in the top grossing 500 films every year, less than 1% of those is scored by a woman. You know, so like I think that's why part of me knows that just being the person that I am will put some people off. And I guess like, well, I would like it to do that. If they don't like it, then that's fine. Just like slide on off me, you know, like it's okay. And I want to find the people who are looking for that vulnerability. Like there's also that Amy Adams saying of like, you need a thick skin to protect your soft heart. And I feel like when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's it. Like, you know, my soft heart is like the pure part of me that just wants to make something that feels instinctive and have it resonate with people around me, you know? And like, I just have to honor that. And you have to have the thick skin because you're like, well, some people don't like it and that's okay. But the only reason the thick skin is there is to look after that little soft center. Yeah. You know, otherwise, who am I then? Like, what am I doing this for?
It's the paradox again. It's the paradox of truth.
Yeah.
You know, it's always, because I think paradox, you know, the paradox for me is just, you know, my biggest problem is being too nice. And so
You give too much
confrontation
away.
is the best. Comfort with conflict is
Yeah.
the best way for me to get along with the world.
Mm-hmm,
You know,
yeah, totally.
It's just that paradox that's there. We think so in such like binary ways sometimes, and it's not really real.
Yep.
And even, like a somewhat binary concept like yin and yang, the whole point of it is that there is yang and yin and yin and yang.
Exactly.
Like that is the point
and
of
it's
that.
and it's a circle.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
connected.
It's a circle. Like it's not like the way that I think about yin and yang is it's not a fixed, even when we see it as a fixed image, it's the shape of it, it's moving.
Exactly.
It's constantly
It's
moving, they're
fluid.
constantly changing.
I love
So
that.
you move between active and passive,
Yeah.
and it's but constantly, like constant movement and
I
constant
love
movement, changing
yeah.
directions. There's a bit of yang and yin, and there's a bit of yin and yang,
Yeah.
masculine and feminine,
Yeah.
feminine
Yeah,
and
yeah,
masculine,
like
and we are
strength and
all the traits.
vulnerability.
We have all the traits, and they come out in different ways, and our gender is part of the way it comes out, and but we are all those
Personality
things.
is another part.
Personality is
Yeah.
the way it comes out, and
Where it
and
could be
it should
opposite.
all be balanced, and it can be out of balance, but it has to come back into balance one way or another,
Exactly.
and we just work towards doing that in a healthy way rather
Yep.
than an unhealthy way.
And it never
but-
gets fixed.
Yeah, it
It's
never
always
it's
gets
always
better.
moving.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's
stop moving.
stable, yeah.
It doesn't stop moving.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop
Yeah.
moving, yeah.
No, I love that.
Well, have you got something coming up now that you want people to...
Plugging things.
Yeah.
So I just scored a feature documentary that you can watch on Stan in Australia if you're there, which is called Surviving Malka Lifer. It's a quite intense story. It's I'm like, I won't give it away. It's about sexual violence and the justice system, but it's beautiful, and I'm really proud of the music. Definitely in a place of like the dichotomy of the darkness and the light, because it's about this dark story, but it's also about the resilience of the three sisters who go through the justice system to try and get their perpetrator accountable
And the
for
score
her.
is out there too.
It is, yep,
For
just
anyone
came
that
out.
wants to
Surviving
hear it.
Malka Lifer.
Yeah.
And then I'm working on a feature doc at the moment, an American one, which is, funnily enough, also has a sort of sexual violence element. Apparently, that's what I'm doing at the moment. But it's really beautiful, and it's called The Sum of Our Parts. I think I probably shouldn't talk about it too much, just because like there's not a lot out in the world yet. But that one, we'll be finishing it at the end of the year. And I'm booked for like a campy Doctor Who style horror after that. And then I'm currently doing a demo for a very gory horror film, which I think will be really fun. I'm hoping that I get it. It's looking pretty good.
Horror
but,
is so fun.
I know. And this one has like some crazy shit. I'm going to do some very weird vocal stuff. Like Manfred will be singing.
Yeah.
Manfred is going to town. So yeah, I'm doing a bunch of horror stuff at the moment, which I don't know, it feels kind of good.
Yeah.
I think the horror, when it is so extreme, maybe that's how you balance out like the documentary of stuff where it's really real dark stuff like in the world, and then you get to go to a world that's crafted.
Yeah.
And it's like, this isn't too serious. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time I'm also working on films about like queer joy, which is definitely part of the doc that I'm on at the moment.
Yeah.
So that also sort of helps me with my mental health. Like that's my yin and yang, the thing. It has to sort of look after me somehow. I have to like heal myself. I go to the dark place, and then I'm like, okay, we can sit in a space that's a bit more like meditative and get to contemplate the joys and the gentleness of life rather than just the darkness.
We
yeah.
do need balance with that stuff.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I like the darkness too. I think it's good. You find some weird stuff when you go there. So
Yeah.
it's a
I
rich
also
place.
just like, watching Gilmore Girls before
Exactly.
bed.
Yeah. Have your comfort spaces.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the balance of it all.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm excited.
Cool. I'm excited
Awesome.
to
Busy time.
see, But everyone can check out Freya's music online right now as well.
Yep. It's on all the streamers.
Yeah.
It's my name, Freya Berkhout.
And stay tuned for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do more. I'm a busy little bee.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
so much, Freya.
It was such a
Thank
lovely
you.
chat. I'm excited to listen back to it.
Yeah. Thank
I'm
you.
like, what did we
so
say?
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.